Alright everybody, we are back this week for UFC 326. Holloway versus Oliveira 2 live on Paramount Plus. If you guys don't know by now, you only got to pay about $10 a month to get any and all UFC action, whether it's a fight night or a premium live event, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. But for 326, we have a rematch from, I want to say, that the first fight took place in like 2017, 2018, almost 10 years ago, for the BMF title between the BMF champion in Max Blessed Holloway taking on Charles Dobronx Oliveira. So without any further ado, let's get this started and step into the ring. Alright, so, let's be honest here. We did pretty damn good last weekend, right? Technically only getting one wrong, which was, which one? We picked Shirez. I'm not even going to count the Keita or Karascate fight because I didn't even break down the one that was actually on, but I was still favoring Karascate. I did throw a small bet on her opponent to win by submission. She had her in a position to almost get it, but it didn't happen. We picked Lonnie Kavanaugh in the main event. We had pretty much all the Mexicans to win, and most of them, if not all of them, did. Yeah, I think we did a pretty damn good job. We went 9 out of 10 on the fights we predicted. But I want to say we got at least one more wrong. I'm sure somebody will come and comment on the video and tell me which one I got wrong, which is fine. It's the name of the game. But, yeah, let's get into this week's fight card. I like these fights. I don't think it's unbelievable, but it's a pretty good card. And, yeah, it's going to be a good Saturday. We're going to have some good fights. And let's kick it off with a guy from the Contender Series. Actually, both of these guys from the Contender Series in the light heavyweight division. We have the UFC debut of Luke Fernandez taking on Rodolfo Bellato. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one pretty short. I think Bellato is good if he can wear you out. If he can drag the fight late, if he can get to the 7, 8, 9 minute mark and start to put the pace on you, if he can start to let his volume overwhelm you and put those punches and bunches together, then he can most likely break you down, and that's usually what he's going to do. The problem is, I think the guy can take a pretty big punch. He got hit with some big shots from Navajo Sterling and went the distance, and there were even some scary moments in there for Navajo, but he, for the most part, controlled the majority of the fight. But in this one, we don't know too much about Luke Fernandez, and you always got to be a little bit weary about how these guys are going to perform when they get to the UFC. We saw him land a big right hand and overhand right in the beginning of his Contender Series fight, dropped his opponent and finished him off. The fight didn't even go 60 seconds. He came in, dropped his opponent, knocked him out, and that was it. I don't think he's going to knock Bellato out that early, but I think Bellato has shown to be durable, but eventually that durability always goes away. Like, you could be the most durable guy ever, but once it starts to get cracked, then it can start to fizzle out. I think Bellato has decent jiu-jitsu. He can work off of his back and go for submissions. He can get submissions from the top. And it's really just the forward pressure and the volume that wins Bellato these fights. But I don't think he's going to be able to drag Luke Fernandez out and really wear him down in the later portions of this fight, because I don't think it's going to make it to the late portions of the fight. And even if it does, I still think that Fernandez can probably get some takedowns and work from the top position if the fight's going long and maybe Bellato's starting to build. I think he can take down Bellato, and I don't think Bellato has much off of his back, but I think he's good from the top position on the ground, which that's the biggest difference there. Obviously, like I said, UFC debut, you never know. You could come in and those debut jitters are real, and sometimes they can bite the guy coming off the Contender Series, the guy making his debut. They can bite him in the ass, and he's not going to perform as well as maybe he will in his second or his third fight. But I like Fernandez's power. I think he's quick. He has a grappling background, so he knows how to wrestle. He knows how to grapple. And I believe he's a wrestler coming up. And he has a lot of power on the feet. I like the way he turned over that right hand and knocked out his opponent. So I'm going to take a shot on Luke Fernandez here. I'm surprised he's as big of a favorite, but I get it. Bellato lost a win, a loss, and a draw, something like that, or a DQ, a DQ, a loss, and a draw. Something along those lines is what's been going on with Rodolfo Bellato, especially after that performance against Paul Craig, where he was getting beat and then he was perfectly fine, but he decided to act up, and then the fight was declared a no contest or a DQ or whatever it was. I don't even remember. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take Luke Fernandez. I think that he's more of an athlete than Bellato. I think he is the more physically gifted fighter, and I think he's going to be able to land that power on Bellato's chin. So give me Luke Fernandez to win. I'm going to go round 2 knockout because I don't think Bellato's going to get put down in the first round. But it wouldn't surprise me because I think a nasty big KO is on its way for a guy like Bellato, especially at the UFC level. I think it's been coming for a while and we just haven't got it yet. But yeah, give me Luke Fernandez to crack the chin of Rodolfo Bellato in the second round and finish him off with some ground and pound. So Luke Fernandez, round 2 TKO in this fight. All right, next fight up, we got a battle in the featherweight division between Jung Young Lee taking on Gaston, the Dream Killer, Bolanos. Looking at this fight, again, from the stylistic perspective, I understand why a lot of people are going to be on the side of Jung Young Lee. He's tough. He's not, I wouldn't say he's durable, but he's quick. He's got a lot of speed, and he's a decent grappler with some good takedowns, good ability to reverse positions and get on top. And yeah, like I think this guy's pretty good overall. I thought Blake Bilder had an opportunity to beat Jung Young Lee, and it didn't happen. Blake Bilder just basically got outclassed in that fight, taken down, controlled on the ground, and beat up on the feet. Yeah, I think Bolanos is a good striker, but he's not a good enough striker in an MMA sense. I know he came in as a big underdog and beat Cortavius Romeus. And to be honest, I think Cortavius Romeus is not UFC level, and he really hasn't been UFC level for a long time. And I think that was a good spot to get Bolanos because as long as he could stop the takedowns, we knew he was going to do well on the feet. He got knocked out by Marcus McGee, but I think Marcus McGee is one of the top bantamweights in the world. He just really hasn't had the opportunity to showcase it. And even in the fight against Petr Yan, he had some moments, and he hurt Petr Yan at a certain point and made that fight pretty competitive, at least in a 3-round sense. I think we're really going to see the grappling of Jung Young Lee come out in spades here. I would expect him to be looking to grapple against a kickboxer with the striking technique or technical ability and the power of Bolanos. I would expect him to want to get takedowns. I would expect him to get on top. I would expect him to try to beat up Bolanos from the top position. And I would expect him to more than likely finish this fight by submission. I think a lot of people are going to come into this fight and think that Bolanos is going to draw out a war from Jung Young Lee, and he definitely could. I mean, look at the Haider Emil fight. They went toe-to-toe. He rocked Haider Emil for a second, but then Haider Emil just foot on the gas, put the pace and the pedal to the metal, and just eventually finished him in that first round, where he came in again as a decent-sized underdog. So in this fight, I think on the feet, you obviously give Bolanos a chance to win because he is a technical kickboxer. He has good work in the clinch, good work from the outside, but I also think that the 4.5, 5-inch reach advantage and the length advantage, paired with the grappling upside of Jung Young Lee, I don't know how you're not going to pick Jung Young Lee to win this fight. I really don't. I think he takes the path of least resistance, but you never know. I mean, he's known as the Korean Tiger. He's probably going to want to stand and strike, but I think he takes the path of least resistance. I think he takes down Bolanos, and I think he finishes him with either ground and pound or a rear naked choke when Bolanos gives up his back. I mean, we know that this guy has holes in his grappling game. We've known that since he came into the UFC, and I think if you stand and strike with the guy for too long, you're giving him a chance to win in his wheelhouse. I expect Jung Young Lee, and I think even if they do strike, I think Jung Young Lee could knock out Bolanos. He's got speed and he's got power, but I'm going to say he resorts to the grappling. I'm going to say he gets some takedowns, and I'm going to say he wins this fight by submission. So give me Jung Young Lee to win. I'm going to take him via second round rear naked choke submission. I think he'll allow for Bolanos to give up his back, flatten him out, and then either finish him with the ground and pound or take the neck. I'm going to say for this case, he takes the neck and submits him. It's just the path of least resistance, and that's what he should do. But you never know. Some fighters just don't take the path of least resistance when they can. And, you know, it doesn't always work out that way. So I'm going to take the Korean Tiger. I think he does have a chance to win on the feet. I think he's faster than Bolanos. I think he has a lot of power. And I don't think Bolanos has the best chin. But I'm going to take him to use his grappling and win by submission. Give me Jung Young Lee, second round, rear naked choke submission. All right, up next, you got a battle in the light heavyweight division. Again, two fighters off the Contender Series, with Rafael Tobias making his UFC debut after winning on the Contender Series via submission, taking on Nurgozhay, who won via knockout on the Contender Series, came into the UFC, and then has lost two back-to-back fights, both by submission. Guys, again, this is a fight I'm not going to take a lot of time on because I don't think we should take a lot of time on it, but I'm going to give Dyer his respect. He's a guy who has this twitch or tick, and he's always touching his face, and he's always moving around. He has his hands up. He moves well. He's never been taken down, statistically. Good takedown defense, never been taken down, but he always finds a way to end up on the ground or finds a way to end up on top and then give his opponent a chance to reverse, or end up on top and give his opponent a chance to submit him. I think Dyer, if you shoot traditional takedowns, he can probably stuff him. I'm sure he's got strong hips. He can, spread his legs wide, turn the hip, use the over and unders, turn you off the cage, or turn you back to the cage and then work back to the center. I think, again, this is a situation where I would expect Tobias to take the path of least resistance, but I think Tobias is decent on the feet. He has good pressure, good forward pressure coming in, 1-2s down the middle, good jab, 1-2 behind it, jab cross, 1-2, 1-1-2. And I know I say that a lot, like jab cross, 1-2, and you're like, God, you say the same thing for a lot of these breakdowns. But if you really look at striking in the UFC, a lot of the time a good jab or a good right or left hand, depending on the stance, can really dictate the striking, mixed in with fakes, feints, level changes, feinting, one jab, feint, 1-2, 1-2, feint, uppercut, hook, cross. Like, it can all work together. So that's why I say that. But maybe I should stop saying that as much, and maybe it would make the breakdown sound better. But in this fight, I think, again, Tobias should take the path of least resistance, and he should look to wrestle. He should look to take down Nurgozhay, because we know Nurgozhay has showed huge holes in the grappling. Takedowns, top control. If he gets on top, again, just like Jung Young Lee, I think he can ground and pound or submit him. And I think he can pick which one he wants, because if Nurgozhay gets taken down and Tobias is on top of him, I don't think that Nurgozhay is going to get back up until the end of the round or until the fight's over, because Tobias has finished him. On the feet, you're giving Dyer a chance to win. He has a solid jab. He moves with that lead hand and that rear hand up. He kind of has that Russian style, like from boxing, moved over into MMA, jabs, 1-2s down the middle, decent kicks to the body, kicks to the legs. He could throw up head kicks as well. We saw him catch his opponent on the Contender Series with a head kick. And I think Tobias would be playing with fire if he stands and strikes with Dyer for too long. So I think he's going to strike, move forward, push him back to the cage, feint, level change, take him down, beat him up on the ground, and finish him with a submission. I've got Rafael Tobias winning this fight. I think he wins this fight by arm triangle choke submission. I think it could be a rear naked choke. I think it could be an arm triangle. I think whatever submission it is, it's more than likely going to be from the top position and probably from the mount. Because I think once Tobias takes down Nurgozhay, it's not going to take him long until he gets into that dominant top position where he moves from the half guard to side control, or from side control over to the full mount and starts raining down with elbows and hammer fists and punches, and then he can set up a submission, or again could go for the ground and pound. I'm going to say he takes a sub here, and I think he takes down Nurgozhay, gets on top, hammers him with elbows, hammers him with some hammer fists. Nurgozhay covers up, turns around, flatten out. Could be a rear naked choke. I'll say arm triangle because that was my first instinct. Give me Rafael Tobias to win. I'm going to take him to beat Dyer Nurgozhay via round 1 arm triangle choke submission. I think Nurgozhay is a good striker. I just don't think he's the best mixed martial artist. All right, next up, we got the fight that closes out the early prelims in the flyweight division with a battle between Sumudaerji taking on Jesus Aguilar. Aguilar beat Luis Garule, which I wasn't expecting, and I think that came down to the fragility of Garule's chin. But when Garule took on Alden Correa, we picked Correa, and Correa won the fight, but, he had his moments, did Garule, so I think that win actually looks a little bit better for Jesus Aguilar. And yes, Aguilar's been submitted. I mean, he got finished, I believe it was by Tatsuro Taira. I think he finished him with like a triangle armbar or something along those lines. But in this fight, man, I think Sumudaerji is longer. He uses his reach better. I mean, he's going to have a 10-inch reach advantage. You cannot look past that. You really can't. He's going to use his jab. He's going to use the long straight punches. He's going to use the check hook, step in and out, use that long lead hand, jab, 1-2 down the middle, catch him with the right hand coming in, 1-2, elbows, uppercuts. I mean, he's going to mix it up, and Sumudaerji does have good striking. I do worry a little bit about his durability, both on the feet and also his ability to survive on the ground. If Aguilar, knocks him down and jumps on his neck, knocks him down and causes a scramble and grabs his neck. I think Aguilar is live to win this fight by knockout. I think he's live to win this fight by submission. I think if the fight goes to a decision, it more than likely would go to Sumudaerji because I think he's going to have the bigger moments overall. He's probably going to land the cleaner strikes. He's probably going to do better work inside the clinch, and he's probably going to have more volume than Jesus Aguilar in this fight. I expect him to throw more strikes. I expect his boxing to be cleaner. I expect him to be able to do good work in the clinch if Jesus Aguilar is closing the distance and crashing in to try to land a big shot. I think he's going to do better work there as well. I think the KO is very live for Sumudaerji. I think it's probably in the second or the third round if it does happen. Because he's long, because of the 10-inch reach advantage, he can pop the jab, throw some kicks to the body, and eventually just try to time Aguilar crashing in with a pullback right hand, a pullback uppercut hook cross, a jab, and a right hand behind it. I think he can just catch him coming in with a counter, and I think the counter striking and the range management of Sumudaerji is what he needs to use in order to win this fight. But we've seen him get pressured. We've seen him break to pressure when the guys he's hitting with all these big shots don't fall over. Just look at Matt Schnell. So I don't think Sumudaerji is a guy you can trust, especially if you're looking to bet. I don't think you can trust him. I don't think you can trust the fight to not go to decision that much either, because I feel like this is a fight where both guys could get hurt 100 times and somehow it'll make it to a decision, or they could get cracked with the first shot and go down. The one thing I will say about Aguilar is he's very good at jumping on the neck. He's very good from that front headlock position, and I expect him to do nasty things to Sumudaerji if he gets on top or if he's able to reverse on the ground and be in a dominant position, whether it's taking Sumudaerji's back, whether it's jumping on his neck, whether it's from the front headlock, whether it's Mudaerji getting hit with a big shot and panic wrestling and him jumping on a guillotine. I think all the recipe is live for a finish, but I think this fight could also just go to a decision and be a war, or it could go to a decision because Mudaerji is just using his length and reach, picking him apart with the straight punches and counter-striking, but moving away and not getting hit with any big shots from Aguilar. I'm going to take Sumudaerji to win. I just think he's going to be cleaner. I think he's going to be crisper. I think he's going to stay on the outside and land his shots, land his jab, land his 1-2, land his check hooks, time him coming in with elbows and knees in the clinch. But I think Aguilar will survive. I'm going to say Sumudaerji wins by decision. And I think there will be moments where Aguilar looks good, and I think there definitely is a chance where Aguilar can win by submission. But give me Sumudaerji. Give me Sumudaerji to win 29-28 unanimous decision in this fight. All right, up next we got a battle in the flyweight division between Cody Durden taking on Niam Jargal, Tumendemberel. Tumendemberel taking on Cody Durden. I can't pick Durden. It's not in my DNA to pick Cody Durden to win a fight. He's tough as hell. Let me say that right here. This guy is tough. This guy is durable. This guy will come forward. And I think his striking is actually getting a lot better. He's getting better at throwing his overhand rights. He's getting better at using his jab. And I think he's getting better at landing big combinations. But I still don't think, even though I just said he's durable, I still don't think the durability is great. Which I guess I'm contradicting myself. But here's what I think. He can get hurt at any moment of a fight, and sometimes he survives, and sometimes he just gets starched, like he did against Jose Ochoa. But he made it 3 rounds somehow against Joshua Van, who was beating the piss out of him in the second and third round. So there is a chance he can make it to the final bell. I mean, the guy's got good grappling. He's got good takedowns, good wrestling, good scrambles. And like I said, I think his striking is getting better. I mean, we've seen him, I think the biggest fight where we saw his striking getting better was against Bruno Silva, where he was beating him up early, and then he got hit with a big uppercut, dropped, and finished. I think that this fight's going to be very similar to that. I actually think Durden is going to look very good early. I think he's going to get some takedowns. I don't think he submits Niam Jargle. I think he's going to get some takedowns. I think his jab's going to work well. I think he's going to 1-1-2, throw some uppercuts, and I think he's going to be feeling comfortable and confident. And then I think what Niam Jargle did that cost him that decision against Carlos Hernandez isn't going to be the case here. I think he's going to follow up with multi-shot combinations. And I think the multi-shot combinations are what is going to hurt Cody Durden in this fight. I think that it's not going to be just one shot where he deads Cody Durden. He's got to put 2, 3, 4 punches together. And on the second, third, or fourth, that's where I think Durden gets rocked and potentially jumps into a submission or could get TKO'd. If you're going to ask me what I think it's going to be, whether it's a TKO or a submission, I'm going to go more on the side of a sub because I think if Durden gets hurt, he's going to look to tie up. He's going to look to scramble. He's going to look to wrestle, and that's where he could get his neck caught and get submitted. I'm going to take Niam Jargle Tumendemberel. I like this guy. I think it's more just a volume and output issue that causes him to be in really close fights and causes him to lose some fights where you expect him to win. Like against Carlos Hernandez, he could have won that fight. Easy. He finally put the pedal to the metal at the end of the third round, and he hurt Carlos Hernandez, and it's because he finally put those combinations together. If he can put multiple shots together, I think he can knock out Durden, I think he can hurt him, and I think he can sub him. I think Durden is going to look good early, but again, I just think it's going to be a case where he's going to look good, his striking will look decent, he'll get behind his jab, he'll move around well, he'll land some combos, probably get a couple takedowns, but eventually he's going to get hit with a big shot, and he's going to run his neck into a position where he shouldn't be, and he's going to get submitted. The guy does it in every fight. It's cost him in some, and he survived in others, and survived very, 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 very thinly. By the skin of his teeth, he survived. So, give me Niam Jargle, give me Tumendemberel, give me 2 men in a barrel to beat Cody Durden. I'm going to take Niam Jargle, Tumendemberel to win via a second round. I'll go... I feel like I pick guillotine a lot with Durden just because he's going to leave his neck out there. Give me a second round anaconda choke submission for Niam Jargle, Tumendemberel over Cody Durden. Right, next up you got a battle in the featherweight division between Ricky Turcios taking on Alberto Montes. Montes is coming off not the last season of the Contender Series, but 2 seasons ago on the Contender Series where he got that first round, I believe it was an anaconda choke. And he is very good from the front headlock position. I mean, this guy's very good. So, Turcios versus Montes. I think Turcios is going to get dominated here. I mean, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this fight because I feel like the way Turcios wins is being awkward, throwing a lot of output, getting his opponent tired, and just winning scrambles and tiring him out. I don't think he beats Montes on the feet. I think Montes has good striking, good low kicks, good boxing. He has power in his strikes, and like I said, he's very good from that front headlock series. And I don't think that Turcios is going to land enough volume to outscore the damage and the power in the strikes of Montes on the feet. I think Montes is going to be cleaner. I think he's going to land the crisper, cleaner shots, and I think his strikes are going to have more impact, which are going to affect the judges if it gets to the judges' scorecards. And I think if he gets hurt, I think Turcios is going to look to hide his head, get on a single leg, look to scramble, get into those grappling positions, and that's going to give Montes exactly what he wants, which is getting into that front headlock series, getting into that Darce, Anaconda, guillotine scenario. And if he doesn't even get the choke, he can hold him there, spin, take his back. And yeah, I don't think he's going to want to scramble with Turcios, but I think even if he does, he still wins those scrambles more times than he doesn't. And I just don't think Turcios is UFC level. Like, his record isn't bad, but the guy wins fights that he shouldn't be winning, and he's winning off of just getting into these crazy wild scrambles, crazy wild brawls. He doesn't have a lot of power on the feet. He doesn't have a lot of technique in his striking. He doesn't really have the ability to manage range and distance too well, at least in my opinion. And I think that as he's trying to close the distance and get into that madness that he wants to create, the chaos he wants to create on the feet in order to open up his grappling, that's where he's going to get hit with big counters. That's where he's going to get hurt. That's where I think he panic wrestles, and that's where I think he probably gets submitted. So I'm going to take Alberto Montes. I think the KO is 100% live here, but I'm going to say it's a club and sub. I think he hurts Turcios coming in. Turcios shoots a takedown to try to recover, and he gets submitted. I think it's going to be very similar to the Durden scenario, where Turcios is going to walk forward, and I think Durden is better than Turcios. So let me say that before everybody takes what I say out of context. I think Durden would dog walk Ricky Turcios. He's way better. But either way, I think the styles of fighting are somewhat similar, and I think Turcios is going to get hit with a shot, try to panic wrestle, and get caught in that front headlock and get submitted. Give me Alberto Montes to win. I'm going to take him via round 2 Anaconda choke over Ricky Turcios. All right, next fight up is in the middleweight division. You got a battle between Dante Lockjaw Johnson taking on Cody Brundage. I'm going to say Cody Bobby Brundage because I don't know, I like that little joke that they make. But here's the deal. Brundage is a guy who has decent technique. He seems like he would have all the tools to do well in most of his fights. And he just makes mistakes. He backs out of fights when there's some type of an injury or some type of a controversy. Then he wins like random fights that you're expecting him to lose. Then he gets dominated and just looks like he gave up and is just there for a paycheck. I think this is a scenario where Dante Johnson beats the brakes off Cody Brundage, and I don't even think he gets out of the first round. Sure, could we talk about it for a long time and give you the intangibles and things like that? Sure, like that definitely could be something that we do, but that's not what I'm going to do. I think Dante Johnson is fast, he's explosive, he's agile, he has a lot of power, and those are all the things that cause Brundage so much trouble. He just recently lost via TKO to Cam Rouston, and now he's going up against a guy who, yes, isn't as long or lengthy as Cam Rouston, but a guy who's faster, way more explosive, way more athletic, and has way more firepower on his striking, and showcased some decent grappling in the win against Cedric Dumas as well. I don't want to sit here and tell you that I think Brundage is going to win, because I don't. I think Brundage is going to get hurt very early in this fight. I think he's going to try to come back with a counter. I think Johnson's going to avoid it. I think Johnson's going to pour it on him, and I think he's going to fold him up against the fence. So give me Dante Johnson. Give me Dante Johnson by a round 1 knockout. And I think he beats the absolute living shit and piss out of Cody Brundage. Not just the shit, beats the shit and the piss out of Cody Brundage. So give me Dante Johnson. Give me Lockjaw to come in, go 2-0 in the UFC via first round knockout over Cody Brundage. All right, up next we got a battle in the bantamweight division between the former UFC bantamweight champion and Cody No Love Garbrandt taking on Xiao Long. I don't know with this one. I really don't. I'll tell you right away, like, I was thinking about betting on Xiao Long as a small favorite, but I also don't think he's amazing, but I also think Cody Garbrandt is a little bit over the hill, and that hurts me to say, because nobody was a bigger Garbrandt fan when he came into the UFC than me. I picked him in both fights against Dillashaw. After he beat Dominic Cruz, I didn't think he was going to beat Dominic Cruz, but he did, and he looked amazing. 2016 Cody Garbrandt was on another level. But it's just, at this point, like, he beats Trevin Jones by decision, but almost gets knocked out when he's cruising to a win. He gets dominated by Davison Figueiredo, even though he looked good early, and then once Figgy started to grapple, it was just over with. He beats Brian Kelleher, which, I mean, if that's not a gimme win in the UFC at this point, I don't know what is. And I just don't know, because I think Garbrandt has all the skills. He's got good footwork, good movement, fast hands, good kicks. He's very fast with his striking. He's good with his wrestling. He's got the total package. He just lacks a couple things. Durability is the big one, and I think fight IQ at a certain point is an issue as well. But then he had one of the best performances in UFC title fight history from a challenger against Dominic Cruz. So Garbrandt's like Pandora's box. Like, you can never figure him out, and in fights that are made for him to win, he loses, and then in fights where he's supposed to lose, I mean, that's what happens. So I think Garbrandt is the much more skilled fighter. He's obviously fought the better competition. He should be a lot faster than Xiao Long. He should be able to pick him apart at distance and range. Like, this could theoretically look like a teacher teaching a student. Like, I think that's what could happen. But I think Xiao Long enjoys being in a fight. He likes getting in the pocket. He's got a decent right hand. He has decent power. He's good in the clinch. He lands good elbows and punches. And I think everybody's going to see the underdog tag on Cody Garbrandt and think of all the past wins that he's had. And they're going to bet him. They're going to pick him to win. And I'm sorry, but I'm going against him here. I'm picking Xiao Long, and I'm picking Xiao Long by knockout. Do I think Xiao Long is a great, amazing fighter and a future champion? No. Do I think he's amazing? No. But I think that he has power in his hands, and I think that he's good in the clinch, and I think he throws okay volume. And that might be the recipe that you need to beat Garbrandt at this point in his career, because he will slow down cardio-wise, even in fights where he's cruising to a win. He will still slow down in the late portions. And I think Xiao Long still will have that foot on the gas, the forward pressure, and the ability to land big shots on a chin of Garbrandt that I don't really think he can take big shots anymore. So, who would I like to win? I would love to see Garbrandt win. I'd love to see him come in and get a knockout, but I'm not picking him. I'm just not doing it. I can't. So, I'm taking Xiao Long. I'm going to take Xiao Long to win by knockout, because I think this could be a scenario where Garbrandt's up on the scorecards, he's beating the brakes off Xiao Long, he's out-voluming him at over 2-1, and then he gets hit with a big shot, rocked, and gets finished. And I think that's how this fight goes. I think Garbrandt's out-pointing him, out-voluming him, winning on the output, looking like vintage Garbrandt, and then boom, he gets hit with a big right hand, gets rocked, Xiao Long jumps on him, and he finishes him. Give me Xiao Long to beat Cody No Love Garbrandt. I'm going to take him by a third round TKO. I think that Garbrandt will win the first round. I think the second round will be closer because Garbrandt will start to slow down and the pressure will start to work from Xiao Long. And I think he lands a big shot, hurts Cody Garbrandt, and puts him away. Xiao Long to beat Cody Garbrandt, round 3 TKO. All right, now we're on the main card. First fight up, it's a rematch where the huge underdog the first time around at almost 3-1, Bruno Ferreira takes on Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues. In the first fight, it was basically the lead right hook and the straight left hand and the feinting of the lead hook to close the distance and step in closer to land that left hand that knocked out Rodrigues. I don't understand, at all why Ferreira is an underdog here. I don't. Don't get me wrong. I think that Bruno Ferreira, skill for skill, is not better than Rodrigues. He's been knocked out before. He got knocked out by, that guy that trains with Pfeiffer and Brady. Nursultan. He got knocked out by Ruziboev, caught the low kick. Bam! Hit him, jumped on him, finished him in the first round. He comes in his last fight. He beats Marvin Vettori. He does it by decision. We picked that at over 4-1. I think it was plus 450. I think that with this fight, stylistically, I don't know how you could pick Gregory Rodrigues. What has he done that makes you think that he's going to beat the guy who knocked him out with one punch and didn't just TKO him, knocked him out cold? Why? Because he got beat up by Roman Kopylov and then came back and won a close decision? Okay, that's fine. I mean, Kopylov lost to Paulo Costa as well in a fight where I think that was a kind of a gimme spot for Roman Kopylov. But either way, this fight just confuses me. Because I guess the rematch makes sense, but RoboCop was destroying Jared Cannonier, then gassed out and got the shit beat out of him and knocked out. But again, you're taking on a guy who has probably gotten better since the last time you guys fought, and RoboCop, I don't know if I'd consider him as getting better at this point. He kind of does the same thing in every single one of his fights, and I think he's more patient now, which maybe that's why. Maybe the patience of RoboCop is factoring into them making him the favorite because he is more patient now than he used to be. And but at the same time, I mean, that KO against Ferreira wasn't like they were both trading in the pocket and he clipped him. He feinted a right hook through the left hand, feint the left hand, feint the right hook to get outside, and landed the left straight down the middle. He feinted, closed the distance, got the outside foot, and knocked him the fuck out. So I don't get it. I really don't, because, don't get me wrong, I think RoboCop could win. But is he going to take down and dominate Ferreira on the ground? I don't think so. Ferreira has okay takedown defense. Ferreira has submissions in his arsenal. Ferreira can go for submissions. And like I said, he's got good judo throws and hip tosses. I think RoboCop's better on the ground, but do I think he's going to take him down and destroy him? No, not really. And do I think on the feet that RoboCop's just going to bum rush and knock out Ferreira? No, because I think RoboCop still has a dusty chin. Like, both of these guys have durability concerns, but I think RoboCop is less durable than Ferreira. I'm just going to say it, especially at this point with all the wars he's been through. And I think Ferreira is fighting more technical and sharper now. I mean, look, he won a decision against a guy who was thought to clearly outvolume him in Marvin Vettori, and he won it pretty easily. Good counters, good movement, big power, and he won basically all 3 rounds by decision against a guy who was really only expected to win by decision. So I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me, but usually if it doesn't make sense, something weird happens and the line looks like, oh my God, he should have been a bigger favorite. So, proceed with caution, tread lightly, but I'm taking Ferreira by knockout again. I'm doing it. I think he has the same ability to land the same type of punch to knock out the same fighter that he knocked out the first time. And he was a bigger underdog in that fight, but shit, he's still a big underdog here. Doesn't make sense to me. Give me Ferreira. Give me Ferreira to land another knockout against Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues. Give me him to do it in the second round this time, because I think he did it in the first round the first time. Give me Bruno Ferreira, second round knockout over Gregory RoboCop Rodrigues, again as the underdog. That's my pick. All right, up next you got a pretty good fight in the lightweight division between Drew Dober taking on Michael the Menace Johnson. 2 southpaws coming in to go to war. Gonna be a striking matchup. Potentially someone gets knocked out. Potentially it goes to decision and you're sitting there scratching your head wondering why or how it made it 15 minutes. I could see either way with Drew Dober taking on Michael the Menace Johnson. This is an interesting fight and one that I've been going back and forth on. Originally, I was picking Drew Dober to win as the underdog. And I'll be honest with you, Drew Dober just doesn't lose to black guys. Like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't happen. He has never lost to an African-American male inside the UFC cage. And when he wins, he more than likely wins by finish. Bobby Green knocked him out. Terrence McKinney knocked him out. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a few other scenarios on that situation as well. But listen, Michael Johnson, it might be a little different. Michael Johnson is very fast. He still has his speed, no matter how many fights, no matter how many wars, no matter how many decisions he loses that he should have won, no matter how many decisions he wins that he may not have, maybe he shouldn't have won. Michael Johnson is still fast, okay? The guy got speed, okay? That boy Michael Johnson got some fucking hand speed, and that hasn't left. I don't care how old he gets. I love Michael Johnson. Like, the guy might not win all the time, but he's always coming in there to scrap. And usually it's a fight IQ issue where he makes a mistake and gets caught. I mean, he was beating the crap out of Josh Emmett when he first moved up to 45, and then he just got hit with an overhand right, outside foot position, got hit in the 3rd round, and knocked out in a fight that he was going to win by decision. Made a mistake against Stevie Ray, I believe lost that fight by submission, where he was clearly beating him up and winning and dominating him on the feet. Drew Dober is kind of a similar scenario where, like, the guy has the potential to win a lot of fights, and his durability is what causes him to lose. Like, he beats Ricky Glenn, which he should. He almost gets knocked out by McKinney, and McKinney was basically a UFC newcomer at that point, and almost gets knocked out twice and then comes back and wins. Has some okay moments against Gene Silva, but was basically getting pieced up and then got timed with that spinning elbow, knocked out. Gets knocked out early by Manuel Torres, but that's Manuel Torres. I think you can forgive him for that one. But you got 2 southpaws. You got a guy who's going to be looking to land the check right hook and the straight left down the middle. But since it's the same stance, it's mainly going to be the straight punches that win this fight. Like usually check hook, right hand, or check right hook, left straight. That's how most of these southpaws win. That's what Michael Johnson did as a 7-1 underdog when he dropped Daniel Zellhuber and won that fight via unanimous decision. Again, 7-1 underdog. He beat the crap out of Jamie Malarkey, almost knocked him out, and then somehow made it to a decision and lost the decision. I'm pretty sure he lost that decision. I don't know how, but he did. Like I said, loses fights he shouldn't lose, wins fights you don't think he's going to win. Michael Johnson is the curious case of MJ. Is crazy. But similar scenario with Drew Dober. Like, he wins a lot of these fights by KO. He almost knocks out Renato Moicano, but then somehow it goes to a decision, and he loses via decision. I think he was an underdog in that spot as well. Gets beat by Gene Silva, gets knocked out by Manuel Torres. This is tough because I think both guys can win by KO. I think both guys can hurt each other, but somehow make it to a decision. I don't know. This is a tough one because I think Michael Johnson is way faster. And with the durability concerns on the side of Drew Dober, I could easily see MJ hurting him and knocking him out. And I could see him kind of taking a page out of the Bobby Green book and just outpointing him, outboxing him, and winning by decision, but Dober's just not able to land that power. But I could also see a scenario where Dober's getting pieced up for the first 2 rounds, and you look like MJ's going to either get a KO or a decision, and then boom, he knocks him out. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm going with my first gut instinct, and my gut instinct for this fight was... Horrible drum roll, please. I'm going Drew Dober. I'm going to pick Drew Dober. I'm going to take Drew Dober to win by KO. I think he's getting outpointed. I think he's getting outstruck. I think MJ's way faster. And then he counters him with a left hand, hurts him, and finishes him off. Give me Drew Dober. Give me Drew Dober by a 3rd round knockout over Michael the Menace Johnson. But again, I'm kind of rooting for Michael Johnson. I like this career resurgence for him. I want Michael Johnson to win. But I'm picking Drew Dober, and I'm picking him by 3rd round KO. I think he's losing until he finds that shot, and he puts MJ to sleep. All right, up next, the battle in the bantamweight division between Rob Font taking on Raul Rosas Jr. This is another fight where I'm going to stick with my first instinct. And my first instinct to win was the underdog in Roberto Fontes. I'm taking Rob Font. I think Rob Font's going to beat the living shit out of Raul Rosas Jr. I understand him being an underdog. You know, his durability is a little bit in question. He can get hurt. He can get rocked. Raul has power, but his striking is pretty much non-existent. He could throw big hooks and big overhands, but for the most part, the way he's going to win is by taking down Font, getting on top, riding him out, and winning by submission or by decision. I don't think the KO is there for Rosas. It's potentially there where he could hurt him. Font could have to scramble and he gets subbed. I think it's submission or decision for Rosas Jr. in this fight. And to be honest with you, I think if anything, Rob Font's takedown defense has improved. His ability to stop takedowns, his ability to work off the fence, his ability to defend the majority of takedowns or get back up to his feet, I think has gotten much better at this point in his career than it was earlier in his career. And I think his jab, his 1-2, is way too sharp and too clean for Rosas Jr. And Rosas Jr. has underperformed in a lot of fights. He'll make fights a lot closer than you think they're going to be. He lost to Christian Rodriguez. That's C-Rod. I still think C-Rod's pretty damn good, so I don't hold that against him too much. But, with this one, I just think Font, if his takedown defense and wrestling defense, jiu-jitsu defense hadn't gotten better later in his career, I would easily be picking Rosas Jr., but I think his takedown defense is better. And if this fight is on the feet, I don't really think Rosas Jr. has a shot in hell to win this fight on the feet. I don't. Obviously, you got to worry about the durability of Font. He's been hurt, like I said. He's been rocked. He's been wobbled. He's usually rocked and wobbled in most of his fights. And even in some, he usually can survive. But it's those big swing moments that can win these decisions for these other guys going against Font. But I think Font's jab can just piece up Rosas Jr. I think the 1-2 down the middle can piece up Rosas Jr. I'm not going to make the exact comparison between Raul Rosas and Adrian Yanez, but I'm going to make a similar comparison in how people thought about that matchup. With Font being heavily counted out, he's going to get knocked out. Adrian Yanez is too fast. Yanez got hit with so many jabs and straight punches going into that fight. I don't know how people had Font as the underdog. But in this one specifically, I just think his takedown defense has gotten better. I don't think Raul Rosas wins on the feet. I think his defense on the feet is suspect. I think his striking is at a much, much lower level than Rob Font. And I think Font's going to box his face off. I think he's going to get behind the jab. I think he's going to land that 1-2. I think he's going to land some uppercuts. And I think Rosas is going to be tough and durable for the early portions of this fight. But I think eventually that durability is going to go out. And I think Font wins by knockout. I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking Rob Font to win. I'm taking him to win by a late second round TKO over Raul Rosas Jr. I just haven't seen much of anything from this guy on the feet. Like, he's gotten better compared to when he came into the UFC and was primarily a grappling takedown and submission merchant. But with Font's improved takedown defense, I think Rob Font wins. I think he wins. Am I super comfortable betting him? No. But have I been thinking about it? Yeah, and I'm waiting for that KO line because I want to see what it's like. But give me Rob Font to defend the majority of the grappling, defend the submission attempts, work up to his feet, and box Raul Rosas Jr.'s face off. Give me Rob Font. Give me Font. Second round TKO over Raul Rosas Jr. All right, so here's the fight that everybody seems to be supremely confident that Caio Borralho wins. Caio Borralho taking on Reinier de Ridder in the co-main event of UFC 326. I kind of agree. I think that Brendan Allen fight, that was a horrible look. I mean, he 10-8'd Brendan Allen in that first round. Took him down, beat him up, out-grappled him, almost submitted him. And then going into round 2, he just gassed out. Now, he said after the fact that he was sick, he had influenza or norovirus. And if that's true, then that's definitely going to affect your cardio, and that's definitely going to affect your performance in those type of fights. But at the same time, I think that why did you take the fight? And especially since it was on short notice, because that wasn't his original opponent. Why did you take that fight if you were that sick? That's the only thing I gotta say. But he looked terrible. I mean, looked amazing in the first round and then gassed out. I expect to see a much improved Reinier de Ridder here, and I don't think the line is accurate. I think the reason why Borralho is a big favorite in this matchup is because of the last performance of de Ridder. You can't always take things away from the last performance. You have to take that into consideration, but with their entire career resume, at least somewhat within the last 1 to 2 years. I think Borralho's good, and I think he's a better striker than de Ridder at range. He's better with the jabs. He's better with the 1-2. He's got better boxing. But in close and inside the clinch, I kind of think de Ridder could make this nasty and hurt him. Like those knees to the body, those elbows over the top, the uppercuts in the clinch, the forward pressure. Like, I think that he can make this nasty. I think if Borralho takes down de Ridder, he's not going to be, moving to half guard, moving to side control, moving to the mount, beating him up with ground and pound and being super active on the ground either. Do I think he's live to knock him out? Yeah, I think he could knock de Ridder out on the feet. I still think de Ridder's defense and striking defense is suspect, but if he takes down de Ridder, like let's say he hurts de Ridder and he follows him to the ground, I think that's giving de Ridder a chance to recover. And obviously he'd still lose the round, but I don't think he's going to finish Reinier de Ridder. I'm pretty confident in saying I don't think Borralho finishes de Ridder. So if that's the case, he has to win a decision. I think de Ridder is the better technical grappler than Borralho. But I also think, Borralho has underperformed in some positions, overperformed in others. I don't know. This is a tricky one because everybody's going to be on Caio because of de Ridder's last performance. They're going to instantly hate de Ridder and not give him any respect. I feel like I was one of the only people on the planet who picked de Ridder to finish Bo Nickel and picked him to beat Bo Nickel. I really think I was on an island there. Nobody predicted that. But with this fight, I think it's tough because I think Borralho can make it boring and still win a decision. Ritter can make it nasty, land good knees in the clinch. He's got that great rear knee to the body, good knees to the body up in close, good head position in the clinch, solid punches, good elbows. I think Ritter has underrated striking. I think Borralho has underappreciated striking, and I think Borralho's striking is cleaner. On the ground, I give the grappling edge to Ritter. I just hope he doesn't lay on his back and lose positions and try to fight off his back for too long and end up losing because Borralho isn't really doing a lot of damage, but he's just laying on top. I think the referee's discretion could play a big factor here because Borralho might get a lot of takedowns, but the ref might break it because he's not being active on the top, and then it's back to the feet, and I think Ritter can make this competitive on the feet. I don't think he's a great striker, but I think he can make it competitive. I definitely do. I think those knees to the body, the long knees, tying him up in the clinch, landing elbows over the top, uppercuts, making it dirty, winning in the dirty boxing, landing the straights over the top. I think this fight's going to be competitive. I think this fight goes to a decision. I'm going to take Borralho to win. It pains me because I'm a fan of Ritter, but I am going to take Borralho to win by decision. But I think it's 29-28, and I think this could even be a split decision. Like, I just think this fight has the opportunity or the ability to play out close, where you could have a minus 280 tag on Caio Borralho, and you're sitting there clenching your cheeks as they read the split decisions, not knowing if you won or not. So I'm going to take Caio Borralho to win. I'm going to say 29-28 split decision, but I definitely think Ritter is live to upset a lot of people here. So tread with caution. But my pick is Borralho. Borralho by 29-28 split decision. But again, Ritter could come in and win this fight. All right, now we're at the main event of the evening for the BMF Championship in the lightweight division. You got a battle between Max Blast Holloway, the current reigning defending BMF champion, taking on Charles Dobronx Oliveira. A rematch from, I want to say, 2017. Let me check when that first fight happened. Let's see. Holloway versus Oliveira. I was way off. 2015. So yeah, over 10 years ago. It was the main event of UFC Fight Night 74. The fight ended 1 minute and 39 seconds into round 1. That was due to a shoulder or neck injury. And it wasn't even due to any punches that Holloway landed. Just something happened. He froze up, fell over, and they stopped the fight. So this is technically their first true fight. Because the first fight ended with some irregularities or whatever you want to call that injury. This is the first fight, and this is probably going to be one of the best fights we've seen. I think Oliveira is going to be getting a lot of hate because of the way he got knocked out by Ilia Topuria. But, Max Holloway also got knocked out by Topuria. So you can't just take that out on one person. Holloway, I think, at this point in his career, has gotten better at striking from range. Like, he knows when to throw his kicks. He knows when to throw that spinning back kick that he shattered Justin Gaethje's nose with. He knows how to really sit down on his punches at this point in his career. And I think that might be the biggest difference. Oliveira has also developed good power. He's good with the jiu-jitsu, good with the submissions. He's much better on the ground with the grappling than Max Holloway. But on the feet, I think he's just as dangerous. I really do. He's got good teep kicks. He walks forward. He pressures opponents. Good work inside the clinch with knees and elbows over the top. Good uppercuts with the lead hand. Solid right hand. Good knees to the body. Good elbows. Really good front kicks. I think he's got one of the best uses of the front snap kick and the teep kick in MMA is Oliveira. Whether he's a jumping front kick and then circling you off to your right to run into his lead left hook, closing the distance, tying you up, knees and elbows. But I think at this point in their career, you really do have to look at this. Whose knockout against Topuria was worse? I think Oliveira's was way worse. Don't get me wrong, they both got knocked out. But I think Oliveira's was way more brutal. And realistically, Holloway survived and lasted longer. But I do think you have to worry about the durability of Holloway at this point as well. He got dropped in the Justin Gaethje fight. That was the first time we saw him get dropped. He got dropped by Dustin Poirier, and then he jumped on a guillotine, almost submitted him. So, everybody being super confident in Max Holloway, I get it, but I think Oliveira's live to cause an upset here. The guy has big power in his punches. He's good with his pressure. He's good with his forward movement. And I wouldn't be surprised if he clipped and knocked out Max Holloway. I don't think he submits him. I don't. I think if there's a finish in this fight, it's probably a knockout. But I think the volume, the output, and the power that Max Holloway has developed is what's going to make the difference. Oliveira has good power as well, which is why I'm saying, he's definitely live to win this fight. If he's able to make this nasty, if he's able to push Holloway back, if he's able to start landing those front kicks, if he's able to run him into a left hook, land elbows and knees in the clinch, land some big uppercuts in the single collar tie, then yeah, he can definitely knock him out. But in most scenarios, I think Holloway probably wins this fight, and I think he wins it by using his long-range weapons, using that spinning back kick as Oliveira tries to close the distance. But you got to be careful because you don't want him to time the spin, follow it, and jump and take your back and try to sub you. I think Holloway has just developed more power in his striking, and I think he's better at managing range and distance with his strikes nowadays as well. And I think he's going to knock out Charles Oliveira. I could sit here and give you this whole rundown, and I gave Charles his flowers. I gave him the reasons why, he's live. He could get a KO, could get a sub. But I think Max Holloway knocks out Oliveira. I think he's going to get behind that jab. I think he's going to counter him with the right hand. I think he's going to throw those spinning kicks, but only at certain times when Oliveira can't really track it and follow it. I think he's going to pop the jab, land the 1-2. He's going to start landing big combinations, jab, hook, cross, shot to the body, jab, uppercut. And I think he's just going to melt Oliveira. I really do. I'm going to go with a third round TKO for Max Blessed Holloway in this fight. I think he hurts him. Oliveira covers up, tries to counter, tries to trade with Holloway, and Holloway just starts pity-patting at him. 1-2, 1-1-2, rip to the body, uppercut. 1-1-2, rip to the body, uppercut. Right hand, left hook, 1-2, 2-3-2, shot to the body. And I think Oliveira crumbles against the fence, and Holloway wins via TKO in the third round to remain the BMF champion. So my pick for the main event of UFC 326 is Max Blessed Holloway via third round TKO to remain the BMF of the UFC. All right, that's it for my UFC 326 preview, predictions, and breakdown. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and smash the notification bell for all future uploads, including a lot of YouTube shorts that are going to have MMA picks and predictions on my channel. They've been doing okay for the last card. Professional wrestling videos, wrestling reviews, breakdowns, anything you could look for MMA and pro wrestling is right here on the Touch 'Em Up podcast. I'm your host, Double M, and I'm out.